I think it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. I apologize for the doom and gloom, but this is the reality that I'm watching play out. And I'm going to tell you, yesterday, something went through me when Mike Johnson took that podium and I saw the number 220. It was unanimous. And I was like, we are in the find out phase of things. We're about to find out some things. And I don't think many of us are going to like it. And it's not about shaming. It's not about, we got to vote for Biden, or else. It's not about that. It's about we're in some really dangerous waters as a nation. We got these, what's going on in Israel that will impact us. I promise you. Ukraine, I've checked out, but that ain't going nowhere. China's lurking. BRICS is coming. And meanwhile, domestically, we are on fire, literally on fire. And so I'm looking at Johnson and I said, he's a problem. And here's why he's a problem, because he's almost, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not, he doesn't have any scandal. From what I could see, I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to come out that he's done touch somebody or abuse somebody. He's not Jim Jordan. He's not Matt Gaetz. He's not Lauren Boebert. He's not Marjorie Green. He has been very measured. He's been very smart. He's very evangelical, which actually appeals to a lot of you listening. He loves the Lord. I really believe this man thinks his relationship with God and Jesus Christ, his Lord and Savior, is solid. He believes this. He is a zealot. He is sold out. He's not Trump, who couldn't find Jesus in a church, couldn't find Jesus anywhere. Wouldn't know Jesus if Jesus walked up and walked through him. He would not know Jesus. He's cosplaying. Trump is cosplaying something for his own personal benefit. This man believes this stuff. And so for me, I'm looking at that as, because there's a swath of people who know that Trump is cosplaying, who's an evil, despicable, horrible human being, but he fits the description of somebody that's going to move the agenda in the way that they want. So, put the right judges on the courts, which Trump has done. He's going to use the narratives that they can't speak because it's against God to say these horrible things, but Trump's going to say it, so they're hiding behind him. He's the rock they're throwing, and they're hiding their hand behind Trump. But now you have somebody that you can really get behind, because when it comes to social issues, he's right on target, and he's not disgusting like Sarah Huckabee Sanders or the DeSantis in his white boots and the weird thing. He's very palatable. Been listening to him, how he's been moving, and so I'm going to, let me see, what do I play first? Let's start with Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, who was the one that upended Kevin McCarthy, which is delicious. But who knew that we probably Democrats should have, and I say we, not me. I'm actually nonpartisan, but who knew that the Democrats would have done better voting to keep Kevin McCarthy in? But it was delicious watching the crap show. But I'm not so sure if this wasn't a plan all along. Like, those of you in New York, you remember 3-Card Monty? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe this was the thing that they were trying to get through all along, and they wanted to embarrass Jim Jordan so he could sit his ass down forever. They wanted to put Scalise's behind out to pasture, which they did. So these are the worst of them, and then they're going to give you somebody that everybody could rally behind. Nobody had a problem with it. 220 people, unanimous. The Republicans, this is a problem. So Matt Gaetz was on with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has a podcast. Steve Bannon, who's the architect of the new white movement, global white movement, the global white nationalist movement. Steve Bannon, I remember interviewing him talking about this very thing. His goal was to dismantle this government. That was his goal. That's why he backed Trump. He wanted to get rid of this government. He wanted a new world order. He wanted to bring together a certain ideology. Now, he didn't use the terms white power structure. He didn't use any of those terms because he's very smart. And he's not in jail, which is interesting. But he has a podcast. Matt Gaetz was on his podcast yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before yesterday? I think it was yesterday. All right, let's play what Matt Gaetz said about Mr. Johnson, Speaker of the House Johnson.
it is going to be a great moment for the House. And you know what? At the very end, when some people didn't know if they could still even bring back McCarthy, a few of them just left the room and didn't vote. And the swamp is on the run. MAGA is ascendant. And if you don't think that moving from Kevin McCarthy to MAGA Mike Johnson shows the ascendance of this movement and where the power in the Republican Party truly lies, then you're not paying attention. But they are crying, they are hand wringing and bedwetting over on K Street because we have an honorable, righteous man who is about to take this position. He's going to do great things for the country.
MAGA Mike Johnson. How do y'all feel about that? MAGA Mike Johnson. That's out of Matt Gaetz's mouth. 866-801-8255. He said MAGA is ascendant. Make America great again is ascendant. How do you feel about that? What does that mean to you? And if you are a MAGA person, if you are part of the MAGA movement, because it is a movement, it is an ideal, it is a religion, it is more than politics. I would love to hear from you today. Because what Matt Gaetz is saying is what I was like, oh, this is a problem. Because this man is he's an impunity. You will not be able to do like even the former Speaker of the House when Clinton was in office, Newt Gingrich. Now he left his dying wife on her deathbed. You know, like he was a despicable human being. Like there was something wrong with everybody. This guy, he adopted a black child. Matter of fact, let me play that first because, I said, this is going to be. So he was on with Christiane Amanpour and company, Mike Johnson from Louisiana's 4th District. You got to hear for yourself. Listen to what he's saying. And then you tell me if some of y'all's grandmamas won't line up. Okay, there are a lot of black people who are conservatives who would be Republican if not for the overt racism, the overt anti everything, would be Republicans willingly, right? Because the value system, there's a lot of people listening tired of looking at gay people and drag queens and seeing every television show and commercial got these all of these messages that are just, every TV show's got a lot of sex in it. And I'm tired of these messages being delivered to my children. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And there's some of you who feel this way. Every time I turn on television, I'm tired of looking at this. But the racism makes it hard to vote that way, right? So why black people vote? Because they're racist. Mitt Romney didn't lose by a whole lot. Like if they had just decided to broaden the tent, if Mitt Romney had put 2 black people, put his grandson in the damn commercials instead of all white people in his commercials for being president, as I said, Caucasian, you ain't trying to govern none of us. All you had to do is sprinkle in a couple of black people. You might have done good against Obama. But, the racism's too much because we know what that leads to, right? 866-801-8255. But now you got Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike. That sounds like Magic Mike, but it's MAGA Mike on Christiane Amanpour. Play that clip.
And I've thought often through all these ordeals over the last couple of weeks about the difference in the experiences between my 2 14-year-old sons, Michael being a Black American and Jack being white, Caucasian. They have different challenges. My son, Jack, has an easier path. He just does. The interesting thing about both of these kids, Michael and Jack, is they're both handsome, articulate, really talented kids, gifted by God to do lots of things. But the reality is, and no one can tell me otherwise, my son Michael had a harder time than my son Jack is going to have simply because of the color of his skin. And that's a reality. It's an uncomfortable, painful one to acknowledge, but people have to recognize that's a fact.
What can we do about that?
I think that we really do need systematic change. I think we need transformative solutions. I think we're at a moment where we can begin to do more to form that more perfect union, as it says in the first line of the Constitution.
That more perfect union. I was looking for pictures of Mike Johnson's family, and I don't see that black child in any of the pictures. Mike Johnson, what's up with that? I'm looking at a picture, Mike Johnson family photos, his wife. Where's the black son? The 14-year-old, I don't see the black son in any of the pictures. There's just everybody looks like something out of Yellowstone. Where's the black child? So you have him, he's your son, but he doesn't make the family photo. So I'm gonna call a little BS on this. But the language, though, if you're not gonna do a deeper dive, it's like, okay, all right. White people have an easier path. He's saying the right things. He's not a racist. He got a black child. He's raising named Mike, and he's articulate and he's handsome. He loves him. He's in his house, but he doesn't make the family photo. Not sure why. Kelly, Larry, and Mike, the wife, Kelly, she graduated from Louisiana Tech as well, and she's a school teacher. They're lovely, lovely, lovely pictures of these. It looks like right out of Yellowstone. Looks like Kevin Costner and his children on the ranch. Where's this Michael though? Why isn't he in the pictures? But I like what you're saying. It sounds great. Anybody else nervous? 866-801-8255. So I'm gonna take you to Gary Chambers, Louisiana, ran for governor. We met Gary Chambers because he shows up to city council meetings and he lets them know what's wrong. Gary Chambers is not thrilled with Mike Johnson, who's also in Louisiana, Republican from the 4th district there. Here's what Gary Chambers said.
This guy is now the United States House of Representatives Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He's from Shreveport, Louisiana. Remember last week I was telling y'all about Caddo Parish, Louisiana? That's where he's from. And now he's the Speaker of the House. And for all those people that I keep saying you should pay attention to the elections in Louisiana, now you got a guy who is the Speaker of the House from the 50th ranked state in the nation. When he was first elected, he was elected with 87,000 votes. He's from a city that happens to be majority black in a congressional district that's gerrymandered against those voters. And he is now the Speaker of the House. Maybe the Democrats will pay attention to Louisiana a little bit more and invest in some of these elections where maybe we could have knocked off some of these people from being elected if we put some money in the game down here in Louisiana. But Mike Johnson from Shreveport is the Speaker of the House. Bet y'all gonna listen now.
No, they're not, Gary Chambers. No one's listening because then you're shaming people into voting. Yeah, they're not gonna vote. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna play this one last clip. This is off of TikTok. Details of MAGA Mike's history. Listen closely. Let's play that one, Smiz.
This one goes out to all the people out there who are trying to discourage folks from voting, especially since Mike Johnson just became Speaker of our House. Mike Johnson is now the person who controls what bills can go to the floor and be voted on or not. Mike Johnson was also a spokesperson for a literal hate group. I'm glad you asked. It's the ADF, the Alliance Defense Fund. Well, Alliance Defending Freedom now, but it used to be called the Alliance Defense Fund. And you know what the Alliance Defense Fund used to do? Legally defend people who discriminated against the LGBTQIA community. You know what else Mike Johnson supports? Criminalizing being LGBTQIA for existing, not even for breaking any laws. He wants to make it illegal here like it is in other countries to be part of that community. He also supported sterilizing trans people. Oh, but the oppression doesn't stop there. You know what else Mike Johnson is a big proponent of? Covenant marriage. And if you're not a native of Louisiana like I am, you might not know what the hell that is, but you need to Google it, like now. And if you don't feel like Googling, just trust me, it is very hard to get a divorce when you're in a covenant marriage. Now, with Mike Johnson wanting to sterilize trans people and wanting to criminalize being a part of the LGBTQIA community and being a proponent of covenant marriage, this next one should not shock you. Mike Johnson wants to make abortion illegal all across the nation. Oh, and Mike Johnson also wants to cut Medicare and Social Security. Mike Johnson is one of those sneaky, conniving, evil sons of biscuit eaters who couch all of their oppressive tactics in laws that say freedom, like Religious Freedom Act, which is really just oppressing the LGBTQIA community. And now that he is literally the person who controls what bills go to the floor to be voted on to become law in this country, now do you see why you need to have your ass at the voting booth? Here's the breakdown. If the Republicans keep the House, regain the Senate, and regain the presidency, there will be nothing you can do to stop this stuff from becoming law in our country.
All right. I'm gonna keep banging on this. I don't know that it's going to have an impact, but I won't stop talking about it. And there's some of you that are like, yeah, okay, sterilize them. Some of you like, yeah, abortions is a sinful God. It's a sin. It's a sin to have an abortion. So I'm down with that. But what about Medicare and Social Security? You okay with that going away? With our education department going away? Because that's on the table too. And moving the federal government from DC and then spreading it out to Republican states so that they can get those good government jobs. 866-801-8255. The government workers look a lot like you and me. Those good jobs will be going elsewhere if 2024 there's a different president. And as she said, the Supreme Court is already ready for a generation. Those 3 people that Trump put on the courts, they're young. They're young. Okay. They got at least 20, 30 years of doing damage. Roe v. Wade, affirmative action, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Are you ready for Plessy versus Ferguson and a whole bunch of other things?
She smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one